Hi again, Year 11 Child Studies. This is my clip on how to write your evaluation for your 2 items that help to bring your book to life. Okay, here we are. The same document open. Again, the all-inclusive assignment document, and it's got how to set out your evaluation. So I suggest that you follow along and pause and take notes as you need to. Like the action plan, 400 words max, so you want to use every word, no room for waffle. Make sure you get as much detail in as possible. The evaluation is all about reflecting on your products, your processes, your outcome, and things that you would perhaps do differently next time, so suggesting things for improvement. First of all, the task is included here again. It's in grey. I want you to just leave that there, just in case a SACE marker needs to read that and see what your task was and refresh their memory. Decision. This you could copy and paste from your action plan. It asks you to, again, list what your book was. Item 1, oh, that looks a bit funny there, 1. And item 2, very brief. Once again, don't waste words there. Here is where you want to start to get into the detail in these 2 sections, evaluation of decision and evaluation of practical. So the first section is evaluation of decision. I've suggested over here about 2 sentences. Don't go into too much detail here. This is more a general overview of whether you made smart choices initially in your action plan or whether you perhaps would make a different decision next time. Was your decision suitable for a child, and did it turn out to be a good decision to fit the task requirements? Okay, the requirements being age appropriate, linking to the book, that you could fit it within the time allowed in class, that it was 50% or more recycled, and were your products safe and durable. Okay, so general sort of comment, for example, you might like to divide it into 2 sentences. Item 1 was suitable for the task, it was age appropriate, strongly linked to the book through the main character, fit the time, and was made of this, this, and this to be safe and durable. However, maybe item 2 wasn't as good. So you might say, on the other hand, item 2, while it was suitable for the age and the book, it wasn't as safe and durable because it was rushed at the end. Okay, so a couple of sentences generally summarising whether it suited the requirements. Now we get into the real detailed stuff here, evaluation of practical. Okay, it does tell you here, evaluate the following, but only comment on things that are relevant to you. All of this here is suggestions, okay? You don't have to answer all of these or comment on all of them. Pick out things that are important and that were significant for your prac, which will be different for each of you. First of all, you want to make a comment about some processes. So this is everything from methods, technology that you might have used, specific techniques, and how they had an impact on the final item. So I've given you an example here of the sort of level of detail you need to get in there. I've got, for example, again back to our imaginary puzzle assignment. The puzzle image was printed at school in A3 size, laminated, and then cut out. This ensured it was durable and can be wiped over if it gets dirty. So within those 2 sentences, I've commented on the printing, that I did that at school, and the specific size, and that I chose to laminate and then cut out the puzzle. All right. I then went on to explain the impact on the final items, or the impact on the prac. So I said this ensured it was durable and therefore it can be wiped over if it gets dirty. Okay. That's just one thing to comment on. You might have a couple of things to comment on under processes. Outcome, right? You want to explain the final presentation of your items and the quality, okay? If you're saying they were high quality, why? Was everything neat, even, well coloured? Whatever it is that you think makes it a high quality, you want to explain that there and give a brief explanation of the overall look and the presentation of your items. Personal performance. So this is about your focus, okay, using your time, any mistakes that were made, or decisions and changes that have to be made along the way, because we know that happens, and that's fine. You don't lose marks for that. You just want to make sure you comment on them. So here I've given another example again. It was originally decided to use a straight machine stitch to close the opening of the bib. It was discovered that the straight stitch would not catch the bib's small seam allowance, therefore a zigzag stitch was used as it ensured catching the seam. All right, again from another completely different pretend assignment, but basically saying that I originally planned to use a straight machine stitch, but that wasn't really working because it didn't catch the seam allowance, so therefore a zigzag was used, which enabled the seam to be caught there. All right, so if you had to make any changes, please explain them there, using as much terminology as you can that relates to child studies or sewing or craft. If you identified along the way that there were any flaws or issues, this is where you can comment on how you would do them differently or how they could be solved next time or avoided under suggestions for improvement here. All right, we are at the end of the evaluation. Remember to include your word count. So it may seem fairly short, but your 400 words will fill up once again fairly quickly. So it's important that you use your words wisely. If you have any more questions, please email, ask your classmates, or ask me in class. Hope that helps.